Welcome back to Snackcast.
Welcome.
Good to see you. Kind of. Whatever.
I can't see you. There?
So,
There.
episode whatever number of Lies My Doctor Told Me book review. It's been good so far, right? We've covered fats. We covered, what was yesterday? Do you remember?
I don't know. I'm brain farting here.
Yeah, I'm brain farting too. Milk. Thank
That's
you,
right,
Jerry
yeah.
Wan.
And I did get the whitewashed book.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's coming. So
Yeah, you mentioned there's no audiobook.
yeah, there's
so
no audiobook on that.
Old school, you're going to have to sit on the beach and flip the pages.
On the beaches.
On the beaches. So, all right. So today is a good one.
Right.
This is probably one of the biggest lies I would tell you that has been, pulled over on the American people. And it's cholesterol.
Huge.
And I think if you were to ask anybody on the street, anybody in your doctor's office, is cholesterol bad for you? They would all resoundingly say, yes, it's
Can we do
bad
one
for
of those like university? We walk around with a camera and a mic, and I go,
Right.
"Is cholesterol good for you or bad for you?"
We should do that.
What do you think? And they would, to your point, 99% of the people would say,
99% would say it's bad for you.
"Yep."
So what does the book tell us? What do they teach us, right? Number one, there's an amazing amount of money spent to convince the American people it's bad for us. Research studies, hundreds of research studies, commercials out the wazoo, billions of dollars being spent to convince us, right? So we're supposed to go, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
Of course it's bad for us. Wrong.
Cholesterol good.
So one of the things the book talks about is it wasn't that long ago that the acceptable level was 300 of total cholesterol. And then they reduced it to 250. And then they reduced it to 240.
Tell us what it is now, Bobby.
I think it's as low as 200.
200.
Right.
In fact, we have a friend of ours that was recently asked to put on statins because her cholesterol was 180. Yes, you heard that right, 180.
So if they get the number low enough, we'll all be subscribed.
Everybody will be on statins. These same statins, which I alluded to just the other day, that are illegal in most of the European countries.
Right.
Illegal. Why do you think that is?
Well, because they're so good for us.
So good for you.
So he goes on in the book to actually, one of the few, I think, that he called an embarrassing lie. It's one of the worst, right? So what do we know? We know that almost every cell in the body produces cholesterol.
Right.
The average production of cholesterol is 1,300 milligrams a day, right?
Right.
1/3 of every cell is made up of cholesterol, including the brain and the nervous system, right?
Right.
He calls it the framework molecule for vitamin D production in the body, which we know is healthy.
So let me ask you. So if you start working on reducing the cholesterol that the body creates, because again, we haven't gotten to this yet, we will in a minute, it doesn't come from food, right?
Right.
So if we start to work on the reduction inside the body, and then we have to have vitamin D replacement.
Vitamin D replacement. It's the framework molecule for your sex hormones, which I know you're a virgin, but
Yes, very much so. This seems to me like, all right, it's the waterfall effect, right? Let's get them on this one drug.
Oh, sure.
And then we'll need 16 other drugs to counter the one issue. And everybody knows people like this, right? That got on the statins, and then they're on this and this and this and this to counter.
Anyone who knows me knows that I think that our leaders in big food, big pharma,
big retail,
they see us as ATMs. That's it. It's not about public health. It's not. That's my opinion. I know it's kind of an abrasive one, but I don't trust them as far as I can throw Juan.
No one.
You
can't throw no one.
So he goes into the book. It's Ancel Keys. He strikes again.
Right.
The 7-country study that started with 22 countries.
And the narrative was changed.
And the data from 15 of the countries did not support his hypothesis, so he carved them out.
Right.
Right.
Even back to the days of the American, this was in the book, The Big Fat Surprise. She talked about how American Heart Association got on board in conjunction with a grant that they won from none other than Big Food. I think it was General Mills or I think it was General Mills that gave, maybe it was Nabisco at the time, but one of them gave them, and it was early. It was like 1940, right when the Key study was coming out or something. It was something like $1 million, and it was the largest grant that American Heart Association had ever gotten. Okay, fall in line. Here's your $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that whole era took off.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that goes back to, ask any farmer. What do you feed your cows to fatten them up?
Right.
It's not
corn.
Fats.
Corn.
It's wheat, corn, and other grains.
Right.
To fatten up the cattle. So if it fattens up cattle.
The same with chickens. So
right.
they do the same with chickens. I mean, right? Corn.
Right. So I'm sorry, I got off track there on.
It's all right, but I mean, okay. So why? And I don't think he does too much looking into this, but they do in The Big Fat Surprise. Is why the huge incidence in heart attacks that caused us to go look for, because that's what we did. We looked for something, and then we're like, wow, this might actually. There might have been. I don't want to cancel them all out that they were all bad and this was a one big conspiracy. I think it did suit their profit and their pocketbooks to go along with this. But there were genuinely higher incidents of heart attacks from people coming back from World War II, right? Back from World War I. And they said, well, it's because they didn't really have access to the meats, right? So they got one idea and they brought it into another idea that fit the whole model, right? Was
right.
Like, all right, when the soldiers were overseas, they didn't have access to all the meats. So now they come back to the States and they're all dying of heart attacks. What happened?
Spam.
Sugar.
Yeah. I was kind of making fun of the fake meat that they had.
Wheat. Sugar. Wheat.
So
Milk.
A couple studies referenced in the book. Literally in 2015, the USDA Dietary Committee, blah, 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 literally said cholesterol is not a food product that we should be concerned about consumption levels, that it's absolutely not bad for you.
How come that never hit mainstream media?
Right. Well, it did.
It
2014,
did.
On the cover of Time magazine was a stick of butter. And Time magazine talked about that cholesterol is no longer a food for concern.
Okay.
So,
then why are we so focused on these saturated fats, unsaturated fats nonsense that has come up?
Well, again, that's like the reports are out there, the studies are out there. Why aren't the doctors watching? And I think it's because the pharmaceutical reps and, it's almost like an old wives' tale type thing that we've believed it so long, it's going to take decades to unwind that belief in doctors.
Right.
High cholesterol, statin. High cholesterol, statin.
High cholesterol, low fat diet.
They've been doing it forever.
Right. Statin. I mean,
right.
And I think when we did, if you haven't listened to the snack cast that we did on seed oils, right?
Right.
That was the other thing. I mentioned wheat. I mentioned dairy. I mentioned carbohydrates. These are all things, sugars that contribute probably to heart attacks. But seed oils was a huge aspect, right? Your soybean oils, your vegetable oils, all of these different types of oils. That was a different thing that we didn't used to do 50, 60, 70 years ago.
Right.
Right? Nobody cooked with Crisco, vegetable oil.
Soybean
oil. They cooked with lard, man.
Anything that Big Food can find a way to mass produce and make it cheaper will magically find its way into the My Plate food pyramid nonsense.
Right. Oh, I don't doubt it. Hey, this is what we're recommending. By the way, politician, here's your check.
Right. So, like every chapter, he ends it with, don't believe me,
Here's
go
your
get
book.
These books, right? So let me whip out the fancy readers. These were too long for me to try and remember, so I did print them out. So, The Great Cholesterol Myth by Johnny Bowden and Steven Sinatra, MD, written in 2015. Book number 2, The Cholesterol Myths, Exposing the Fallacy That Saturated Fat and Cholesterol Cause Heart Disease by, and I'm going to totally mess this one up, Uffe Ravenskov, that's UFFE, and then RAVNSKOV. Uffe Ravenskov, MD, PhD, written in 2000, so very current.
Okay.
So yeah, fats, cholesterol, they're good for you. I think you and I have kind of known that for a while. It's very interesting to see a medical doctor, put it pen to paper. He probably gets ridiculed by the medical community.
He'll get sued again.
Yeah, probably. So that's it. That's all I got for today.
Yeah.
So questions, comments, concerns, email us at snackcast@yes.fit.
Stay moving.
See ya.